I know. But I also know that we've got a match here. It is a new match, actually. We were talking about Master Yi. We still have an Irelia. We've also got a Master Yi here. We're going to be the Battle of the Calm decks. It is Protect the President versus Protect the Princess. There we go.
There we are, and that's exactly what we're going to be trying to do. Honestly, I'm excited to see a Master Yi. We haven't been able to commentate one yet, so this will be exciting. Irelia, we've seen go from strength to strength in this event, but also we've seen her crumble. So, will this be her time? Will she keep on dancing, or will the Bladesman, rather than the Blade Dancer, take the crown?
Yeah, and this is an interesting matchup here because it could be multiple different types of Master Yi. There's a mid-range version, there's of course Aurora version, and you really don't know what it's going to be until it may be too late. But here we go. We are getting into the mulligans here for both players. I see that fabled monster, that absolute behemoth, Stellacorn Herder.
Oh, not again!
This is the battle of Stellacorn Herder decks. Both of these decks are actually able to run Stellacorn Herder. There's
there's three. Oh, we're gonna have a whole herd of Stellacorn Herders.
Wow, the herd of herders. What do you call a herd of herders? Is this just still called a herd?
I think it is just, I mean, it's pluralized already. It's just a herd. But it could get a little bit wild, drawing cards left, right, and center. But which one of our players will be able to craft that meticulous hand and make it through? Okay, we've got booties, boots of swiftness. We love that. We love a bit of equipage for some ganking and extra might. And our first Stellacorn Herder joins the fray. Yep,
Stellacorn Herder. I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. No man scares me, but that thing. It strikes fear into the heart of any deck, because any deck can be okay or can be better or worse against another, but when one deck has a full deck of cards in their hand, it is hard to deal with regardless.
It really is. And even just the fear that you strike into your opponent with a hand so large, you've got energy remaining, you've got to think about all the possibilities, and these calm decks have such potential for that. So we do have to bear in mind there's a lot that can transpire when you've got a lot of cards in hand and the energy to utilize them.
Yep. I want to point something out here. We see the turn happen from Irelia. They play Tide Turner there. They actually took quite a bit of time thinking about that play. And you may go, well, just play your 2-drop past the turn. It is not that easy. There is so much to think about with this Irelia deck, and we have seen, I mean, obviously this player is 8-0 right now in the tournament. They are making sure that they are taking the necessary time to actually plan out their turn, plan out their next turn, thinking about not just what I'm doing right now, but what is my game plan right now. So even little decisions like that are very important at this point in the game.
Oh, going straight in with Irelia, getting out.
Who played Irelia?
I know. Barczek played Irelia, not Gozyr. But again, we're running that calm domain, so we can go ahead and also utilize Irelia in Master Yi, which is one of the things that also brings Master Yi into the limelight, makes it strong, makes it powerful, because Irelia does want to defend alone a lot of the time, so you're getting that extra might buff quite consistently.
Yep, you absolutely are. We are seeing the equip here from the Tide Turner. That is going to be 4 into 5 here. We're seeing the Defiant Dance played out.
That's going to buff that Tide Turner considerably and debuff the Stellacorn Herder. So once again, seeing one of our strongest spells right now showing its stuff, giving quite a considerable amount of might to our Tide Turner, giving that the extra and taking Stellacorn Herder down to some depths, I gotta say, down to 1, which is quite scary, and then we go in and win with that 6 might.
Yep, take it down, get rid of that Stellacorn Herder. It's definitely one of the scariest things that can be out on the side of your opponent. But of course, that Irelia on the side of Master Yi. Now, normally, Irelia, very strong in Irelia. Also, as you said, very, very strong in Master Yi, and especially when there's that Vile Maw's lair on the other side, on that other battlefield. This is not a... This battlefield is way worse for Irelia than it is for Master Yi. Master Yi says, "Oh yeah, no, I'll just park here. I'll sit here forever." Irelia wants to obviously dance around, and Vile Maw's lair says, "Yeah, that's not going to be so easy to do."
No, I'm going to make that a lot tougher. So this was a great choice, especially for our game one, making it really difficult for the pure Irelia build rather than our kind of Master Yi with a sprinkle of Irelia on top, showing that we've got our Irelia showdown right now as both are now in play. And now it's just the consideration of where to spend this energy. Do we try and get another Stellarcorn Herder out? Of course, we're both fighting over Zorn Warrens right now to try and get that early game card draw to push us into the driver's seat of this game.
It's just the Master Yi cosplaying as Irelia, and that's we love the cosplay here at the RQ, and of course Master Yi cosplaying as Irelia. That's, hey, we'll accept that as well.
I'd love to see it.
Yep, just going over a quick judge call here, making sure everything is up to snuff here. But, I mean, right now we're seeing the early game posturing. We already saw a Stellarcorn Herder get taken out. There's Irelias on both sides. How are you feeling about this game right now?
I feel like we're taking it slow and steady. But I appreciate the aggression on the Stellarcorn Herder being really key to this, because you can see why they're both fighting over Zorn Warren right now. It is so imperative to both of these players that they draw lots of cards at the beginning, because then you not only have the knowledge of what's available to you, but you can plan turns ahead. You can say, okay, right, if I sequence this properly with all of this information that I have and all of these cards, then I can pull off a win. But the fewer cards you have in hand, the less you can plan ahead. And that's what this is about. It's this matchup especially is going to be a huge game of mental chess. Yeah,
absolutely. You're able to really take advantage of the fact that Master Yi wants to, but also kind of has to leave their units parked on a battlefield.
Yeah.
Well, Irelia does not have to, and if you're a sitting duck, well, or a Stellarcorn, you can move in. You've got a lot of combat tricks. Yes, Master Yi may have been able to fight over that that battle there, but when Irelia has a bunch of cards in hand and a lot of energy up, you really do not want to be taking combat trick fights with Irelia on a battlefield.
No, and that's exactly it. Both of these decks can use a lot of combat tricks. They've got them up their sleeve, but arguably Irelia has more. We have those Defiant Dance especially, which I think notably are going to be the turning factor when it comes to these larger combats.
Yep. Okay, looks like the dust is settled. We've got an Irelia coming in, conquering that Zorn Warrens. It seems like Zorn Warrens is going to be the contested battlefield of the day, sending the Lonely Poro sadly into the trash there for the Zorn Warrens, but that's okay, because we've got a Ruin Runner, the big camel himself.
Ruin Runner was one of our stars from yesterday, which showed its stuff and how strong it can be to not be able to be affected by spells and abilities. The opponent cannot choose Ruin Runner.
Nope, you absolutely cannot. And in this case, it's really, it's good against, obviously, Rebuke. It's good against Defiant Dance. For the most part, Irelia is buffing her own units, but still just knowing for a fact that you can't be targeted, can't be charmed, which we saw be really big in other matches previously in the tournament. So that Ruin Runner is very safe and is going to be really, really big in the backline there. As the battle of the Irelias has started. Get your memes out there pointing at each other.
Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, we've gone On Guard on one side, Discipline on another. This might is going up and down. It's wowza. This is like a ride of a century. We are not letting up on either side, and at this point you've got to consider how many resources are you going to let go. At this point, Barczek is out of energy now. Gozyr still can keep going if they choose.
Yeah, there's still more cards in hand on the side of Irelia here. It looks like they are going to play another on guard, which theoretically is going to cause this trade to happen. Or rather, not trade, this combat win to happen.
Victory.
Yes. We're going to use the Blade Dancer ability to ready the Irelia as well. We're going to get a Zon Warren's proc. We're going to be able to move the Irelia back. Or rather, we could even move the Irelia over to the Vile Moss Lair because we have the Swiftfoot boots if we so desire. So it's a matter of, do we want to leave the Irelia on a battlefield here, go up to 3, or do we want to get her safely out of harm's way?
And that's the decision we have to make is it advantageous to try for a hold point here? Or knowing your opponent has a unit, is it safer to stay in base? I like this decision. I think you've got to, like we say, protect the princess, especially when you're up against another. However, Master Yi has lost their Irelia, but we do have that Ruin Runner, which against something like Defiant Dance can just swing the tide.
And we've talked about it a lot over the broadcast, but it's worth reiterating. Getting that 3rd point in a normal game is not nearly as important as getting those even break points. So it's fine if you just randomly get it. If you hold and you go to up to 3, that's not a bad thing, but you do not want to spend unnecessary resources to get that 3rd point, and leaving the Irelia stranded, especially on the Vile Moss Lair, is not where you'd want to be.
No, overextending is Irelia's worst nightmare.
Yes.
It's honestly the worst thing that you could probably do by accident, but I think it's so easy. It's so easily done when you're up against a similar style deck. You think, oh gosh, I really need to stay ahead. And at the moment, Barczek is kind of leading that point war at the moment and just consistently going above and beyond. And this is where if you allow yourself to fall behind, well, I mean, that's going to be that, isn't it? Who's going to get to 8 first? Or if we're toe-in-toe at this point, it's quite clear.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And Master Yi, really good at holding, not necessarily as good at doing what Irelia does, which is take 2 points a turn and get the units off. It's more of a, I'm going to set up camp here and really challenge you to get into combat with me. And Irelia says, okay, that's fine.
All right,
I'm going to send in. I'm probably going to win the combat. I'm going to score on the other battlefield, and I'm going to get at least one of these units off of the battlefield as well. Is generally what Irelia is doing. As you see Barczek get up to that 3rd point, but again, it's not 4. They have not progressed a turn further towards winning yet, which means that the point tempo, as we say, is on the side of Irelia if they're able to get to that 4th point this turn.
Yeah, being able to just take advantage of the fact that Barczek wasn't able to gain that 4th point here could be a pivotal moment. If we're able to challenge the Ruin Runner and take Vile Moss Lair, that could just catapult us into the lead.
And this is, I mean, this is day 2. This is both players at 8-0. So now the mind games start. If you are Irelia here, you are very much thinking, what could possibly be in the hand of my opponent? What is the worst thing that can be? We know they have on guards, they've got disciplines, they've got punch first. So those are the cards that they are thinking, what range of pump spells can I play around? Am I willing to play around? Do I lose to? These are the things that are going through the hand. Even if there's not a lot of game actions being taken, there is so much going through the heads of these players right now that needs to be considered.
You also have to think about just how much energy has my opponent got to spend?
Right.
3, right, okay, so that limits the possibilities down a little bit because they can't play too many pump spells.
Right.
And that's really what we need to be thinking about, is what is the potential. And that's where these high-level players really gain advantage, knowing exactly what decks typically play, so they're able to react in tow. Just hiding a card and choosing to pass the turn. Holding on, appreciating that, you know, we're both not at that 4 yet. So if I can also strike a whole point, again, I'm just staying toe-to-toe with you.
Yeah, and this is exactly where Master Yi wants to be. Senses a bit of weakness. You know, Master Yi was holding up 3 energy and had a bunch of cards in hand. There's a wide range of spells that could be in hand there. Irelia only has 2 cards in hand, so Barczek's getting the read here. There's not too much here. I mean, they could have had a pump spell. They could have even had 2 pump spells, but they were afraid of what I possibly could have had. So that gives you a read on the type of cards that could be in Irelia's hand. And also, there's only 2 cards. There's only so much you have to worry about.
2. And that's why the Storm Warrens has been fought over so avidly at the beginning of the game, is that actually that card draw can be so significant. And especially now when we're seeing that actually down to 2 cards can be just not as scary as a flurry of cards in hand. Now Gozyr has the really difficult decision of what to activate. We can't win this alone, so Poro's going to need a backup from Tide Turner, dragging Irelia from base into the fray.
Oh, right. And because of Vilemaw's lair, the Tide Turner can't actually move back, so it just pulls the Irelia up. And now Ruin Runner may have gotten into a fight that they weren't ready to fight, but we see the Discipline starting it off. Going to try to draw a card, get +2 here to see if that is enough. But no,
Whoa.
Gozyr says not today, not going to draw that card. Let's see what
We've
do.
got a punch first.
Yep.
That's going to add an additional 5 might, taking Ruin Runner up to 10. It's not quite enough. Hard bargain comes down.
Okay.
Do we have a counter to that? We don't.
We don't, but we can just, you can just pay the 2 if you want, unless I don't
Yeah.
know if it was repeated. I didn't see how much energy they had. I'm not sure if it was repeated or not.
The issue is the first punch just also isn't enough, so we would need to spend for the hard bargain cost, potentially repeat it, and then also play another card. Is it worth it, or do we allow that to just go through? We're going to spend
it. Was repeated. They paid for it, and now, you know, we're not able to fully win the combat, but we take down an Irelia and a lonely Poro, who wasn't lonely, so happy for the Poro. Not happy for Gozyr here, who doesn't get to draw a card.
No, not at all. And I did a boo-boo. I forgot about Master Yi's champion ability being able to add on that extra might, and that because we were defending alone. So we do actually trade entirely on that one.
Yep, so the whole... as the dust settles, there are no units on the side of Irelia. They quickly draw their card and pass back. And I mean, this is Barczek in the driver's seat here. They're going to be able to draw cards from the Clockwork Keeper here, from the Stellar Corn Herder. They're going to be able to get to that so important 6th point. And now, you know, presenting lethal just by passing is a place that you would definitely like to be, and that's exactly where Barczek is here. Gozyr's going to need an absolutely massive draw here.
Trinity Force just to add on pressure. Going on to that first mate, we're really challenging this now. Gozyr's got a lot of hoops to jump through and 0 units currently in play. We can get things ready, but it's not going to happen. Barczek takes game 1 of this round 9 here at the Lille Regional Qualifier.
Yeah, that is absolutely textbook there. I mean, it really... The start of the game, Irelia got off to a fast start, was able to take out that Stellar Corn Herder early, but slow and steady wins the race. That is Master Yi.
Oh, yes.
To a T. Nothing fast about the Master Yi deck whatsoever.
No.
Just taking a battlefield here, winning a combat here, holding and playing very methodically, and we saw that get taken down there. And here is a quick look at the Irelia deck here. 2 main deck Vex. Love that card. Very, very strong, especially in these green matchups where there's a lot of combat tricks and these battles happening.
We just didn't see one.
No.
We just didn't see one. We've also got the Flash. I don't think we saw one of those either. Charm wasn't able to be utilized, so actually a lot of the deck was either just not seen or shut down. What do we think is potentially going in from the sideboard? Yeah,
we saw the Heart of Dark Ice, which was very good yesterday in the games we saw. We saw that hard bargain as well. One of the only ways to actually deal with a punch first, potentially, which is... certainly one of the cards that makes has the biggest impact on this matchup for sure. But Barczek, you can see here, has the sideboard notes written down. Now this is a tournament tip here. You can bring notes in and look at them in between the rounds. So if you know what you want to sideboard in for the games, you can have that written down beforehand. You don't need to try to figure it out on the fly. You don't need to try to remember it off the top of your head. You can have that written down. You can't look at it during the match, but in between games, you can look at those sideboard notes and have those ready for you.
Let's have a little look. We've got Sabotage, Auction, Defy, Not So Fast. A lot of these feel like they'd be good into this matchup, but which are the correct cards to put in and take out? I think that's always my hardest decision, is which cards I don't need in certain matchups.
Yes.
And being able to remember that. I'm much more of a write it down gal.
Yeah, if I'm taking a tournament seriously, I will have all of the top matchups written down for my sideboard notes. And then, of course, I'll play against something completely random and it will be thrown out the window. But for the most part, if I'm playing against the top, 5 to 10 meta decks, I'm going to have sideboard notes written down for those so that I don't have to think about it. I've got that mental energy spent elsewhere. And one card I do like from the sideboard of Barczek is a card that we saw a decent amount yesterday in a variety of different orange decks, and that, of course, was the Auction. Being able to take that Guardian Angel from Irelia can be absolutely backbreaking in some of these matches. And as we saw, Gozyr lost a few units and then just never was able to recover. They didn't have any other units to refill with.
And that could be a problem solved by Guardian Angel.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Again, it's one of those things where actually it can be troublesome. I'm really curious to see which battlefields are going to get chosen, because we really saw the Zorn Warrens being so impactful in that game one. Both players fighting for it avidly because they knew they need the card draw, whereas Valmorlea was definitely left to the side. It was a really awkward one, and obviously the Zorn was much more advantageous at the beginning. Really, Valmorlea was only used in the late game to gain those extra points that we needed to push forward for that win. And so we need to see whether we're going to be able to utilize any of our card draw in other ways.
Yep. We see Forge of the Fluffed on the side of Master Yi with Targon Peak for the Irelia. Now, Forge of the Fluffed, one that we see a lot in Lucian, and is a very, very good Lucian battlefield. Targon's Peak, really great, especially if you are going first and are able to conquer that first. So having a turn one play is going to be huge here for Gozyr. They're going to be able to threaten that Targon's Peak right off the bat, get that energy flowing.
And we don't have a unit in response yet from Barczek, so we're back over to Gozyr, and they're going to have free reign of it if they'd like to. And a Stellarcorn Herder now in hand as well. So, yep, that Poro's going in.
Yep, going to conquer, going to ready 2 runes at the end of their turn. They can even develop a Stellarcorn Herder now if they want, and still have energy left to protect it if they want. That's exactly what they're going to do.
I think that's a wonderful play, being able to utilize that battlefield perfectly, allowing yourself the extra wiggle room of having some open energy at the end of the turn and getting a Stellarcorn Herder into play. You can't make it up.
Nope, can't make it up, but that is now Lonely Poro getting 2 points.
What a good boy.
What a great Poro. It's so sad that he's lonely up there, but it is okay. Got a Stellarcorn Herder in the base that is going to be threatening to draw so many cards.
A much, much more dynamic start this time from Gozyr, who's plummeting themselves into the lead here with 2 points from a Poro. Stellarcorn Herder threatening to draw more cards, being able to utilize Targon Peak. Amazing, with just an Irelia and a Guardian Angel currently on Barczek's side. Now, it might seem small, but it certainly is scary when Guardian Angel gets equipped to Irelia, so we know that the Fury is coming soon.
Yeah, the Fury is absolutely coming. And it's going to be a matter of, what can Barczek do to stem the bleeding here? They are now down a turn and a half in terms of point tempo. Obviously, that equates to 3 points here. But again, unlike Irelia, Barczek is not really equipped to go in and conquer 2 battlefields and leave them safe. They're really good at conquering one and holding, but right now they're going to need to do more than that, because Gozyr, if that happens, Gozyr can just conquer the other battlefield, stay there, and if the game progresses, Irelia's going to win.
Having a little look at that Forge of the Fluffed. Of course, we've got those boots of swiftness. We could equip those. Just having a consider of where they might go, or whether we're going to play something else.
Yep, this is a interesting interaction between Irelia and Forge of the Fluff, where you can exhaust Irelia to use Forge of the Fluff, and they're wondering if they're able to. They're wondering if they're able to also use the Irelia Blade Dancer ability. Okay, no, we're not using the Forge of the Fluff. We're just paying and using the Irelia ability. Got it. There we go. So we're moving, getting the Stellarcorn Herder out of trouble there, moving it back, drawing a card for their troubles, and now we've got 2 not-so-lonely Poros and a Stellarcorn Herder with the Boots of Swiftness in the back line.
And it's a good place to be, but now Irelia does have a little bit more free reign, and with a really nicely developed hand of useful cards, now it's time to act. So we've got Irelia going straight into Forge of the Fluff for that first conquer point of the game, and we're going to use, there we go, our ability to equip and get some extra power, some extra might. So we've got an equip, we've got extra might. Irelia's feeling pretty good in that situation. And we have lots of cards to back it up as well. We could even target those Boots of Swiftness with an Arc Shot. I was about to say it, and there he is. We can target the Boots of Swiftness, and they are taken by Arc Shot. We saw this kind of little combo in effect yesterday, and now we're seeing it today as well, giving him ganking, which is fantastic. Now charming the opponent.
Oh, very strong here. As that is going to be Stellarcorn Herder. Yes, you do still draw the card because Stellarcorn Herder is a busted card. In a good way, of course, but even on the way out, it's still drawing you a card. But that is Stellarcorn Herder gone for Irelia here. Master Yi has set up camp with an Irelia, with a Guardian Angel. It is... the princess is protecting herself at this point.
Oh yeah, she's strong enough to do that. She knows her place, and she is going to be standing firm, trying to now build up those hold points as well. Unlike the natural, firm stance of an Irelia build, where normally you're trying to dodge in and out of battlefields, you're right, Master Yi is trying to do quite the opposite, and is trying to hold on in there, create this almost impenetrable board state on battlefields themselves. And we can see from the board state that Barczek has managed to create that is coming into fruition quite nicely.
Yeah, and, you know, really big turn from Barczek, but look at the points. Gozyr at 4 now. Point tempo certainly in their favor. They don't necessarily have to do too much right now. Yes, Barczek is certainly ahead on board, but they're behind on point tempo, behind on points. So Gozyr could theoretically take a turn to develop and then pick these fights once they've actually got some reinforcements.
I think that would be a very strong position to start to put yourself back into this game. There's a lot of lonely Poros on this board. They're not looking so lonely right now. I think that's a bit of a fib, I've got to say. As we look to establish a stronger board alongside these not so lonely Poro.
Yeah, we're all alone in this together. Wait,
yeah, that's how it goes, right? Vex joins the crew.
Yeah, Vex sees all of the lonely Poros and is sad about it. So this is all playing on brand thematically for sure.
Vex has proven time and time again what a strong card it is, even though some were to underestimate Vex. We've seen that it's a very good card in this deck, and I think good in this matchup.
Oh, absolutely. Any matchup where you're going to want to get into these pump spell wars, if there's a Vex in combat, you really don't want to be on the other side of it. It is a nightmare as someone who made the mistake of attacking a Vex battlefield once.
That one time, and I'll never do it again.
It was the last time. Unfortunately, it was in the top 4 of a skirmish, and I lost that game.
Oh,
but I learned my lesson in the next 2 games. It's all good.
Here we go. Boost of Swiftness joining our Irelia to give her ganking to go and see that lonely Poro.
The Forge of the Fluff allows you to move the equipment that's on Akshan.
Oh my gosh.
That is insane and hilarious.
poor Poro goes down to an Irelia who went, oh, Akshan, just chuck me those, would you, buddy?
Yeah, and the Master Yi cosplay sees an Irelia and goes, oh, can I borrow that? Yes, now my cosplay is even better. Now I literally have the boots of swiftness for my cosplay.
It's perfection. Akshan then goes into Forge of the Fluffed, gaining that extra point. The momentum is building, and this board state is starting to become much more Master Yi looking with its presence.
Yeah, and here's an interesting thing. If Akshan dies, Gozyr gets control of the equipment back.
That's true.
It doesn't unattach from the unit.
Nope.
It just usually does because if the Akshan usually is the one holding that equipment.
Yep.
But if he's not, it doesn't unattach it and give it back. It just says, oh, this equipment is still attached to Irelia. It's just you control it.
Yeah.
Oh, can I unequip it? No, but you control it.
Yeah, Irelia's like, I don't want to take these off yet. I'm not done.
These are my ruby slippers.
I'm not finished with them. You're going to have to wait. Vex going in and saying hello to Akshan, which is quite a vexing proposition.
Yep, and of course, Master Yi ability is going to give that +2 to Akshan right off the bat. So
discipline is necessary.
Yep, discipline is necessary. It's going to put Irelia at +1 on this combat here.
We've got a response. It's a thwonk.
Thwonk. Does have to pay an extra energy and a power to thwonk, and it is going to be an extra energy and a power to defy this
defy.
So very expensive exchange
so
here for Barczek, but necessary.
Both of them just going, no, 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 not so fast. Defy.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, not so fast is able to counter the thwonk, so the defies resolve on themselves, but the not so fast can target the original thwonk, and that is going to be good enough there.
Vex has done exactly what they set out to do. Looking at the energy that Barczek has left now is incredibly thin, and I think they're just having a little chat about how that interaction you just discussed works.
Yes.
Where now Akshan's gone, the boost of swiftness, technically they're in Gozyr's control, but Irelia is still wearing them, so she just gets to keep them on.
Yeah, so, and then the question is, can you use Forge of the Fluff to then move them back? And I think that is what they are trying to determine right now, if they're able to do that. I'm not going to make guesses because I'm not a level 1 judge, but I think that is what we are seeing here. This is, you know, I've played a lot of Lucian, and I've played Akshan. I play Akshan in Lucian. I play Forge of the Fluff. I've not actually had this interaction come up yet.
It's a fun one, that's for sure. I'm curious to see how the judges resolve it. I was at a concert once, and someone did steal the shoes off my feet, so I know it can happen.
Yeah.
It's just whether that Forge of the Fluff, you know, was I there? Probably. Must have been, I guess. So we'll have to see.
Did you hear the story about how I got Akshan'd in real life?
No? Yeah, right. Exactly.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna let the judges figure that out. No, I got Akshan'd in real life. I did in Bologna. We had the card slinging. I was there. Played against some players. Got my Trinity Force Akshan'd in game, and then I forgot to take it back.
Oh no!
So I went to register my deck, and I was missing a Trinity Force, and yeah, Akshan took it in real life. Now, it was a content creator that I know, and
that was easy to get it back.
It was an accident,
then.
Obviously, and they brought it back. I got an email from Riot in the morning saying, "Hey, someone brought back your Trinity Force," but it was just funny that like I literally got Akshan'd in real life from Akshan in game. It's like I feel like there should be 39 cards in my deck with my chosen champion, not 38, and I'm like, can I not count anymore? I go,
I lost that ability. That's one thing that I always do is forget to pick up my battlefield at the end of a game. I'm walking halfway across the venue and someone's like, Amy, your battlefield.
Okay, so after the judge call, looks like that has been resolved here.
Looks like the boots of swiftness are still on Irelia for now.
Yes. Whether
that changes, another matter, but for now, she gets to keep them on. She's got ganking and that +2 might from them.
So we've got 7 might on both sides here.
Tide Turner in place, swapping around with Vex, keep Vex safer.
Just to get Vex out of danger there. We get that 4th point for Barczek here.
Yep, we get that hold point. Irelia standing strong still in Targon Peak. And now we're going to be working with fewer runes than we were expecting on this turn. And is that just the one card in hand? We have nothing left after that combat scuffle as well. I think Vex really had quite the impact.
Absolutely. It spent a lot of cards to basically make your opponent spend cards too, but the problem is that you also spent a lot of runes as well. But Lonely Poros can cash in for additional cards there. As sad as that is, we get to cash in the Lonely Poro there. That's okay.
Yeah, went into the Tide Turner, did take the trade from both sides, managed to draw another card. I think it's an on guard by the looks of things, but that's not going to help us right now because we can't get into further combat by force. Lonely Poro could go ahead and take that battlefield now, which we are going to do for the extra point, but it leaves us incredibly vulnerable. Not many cards in hand. Of course, we have the energy to back it up, but Irelia is just on her own right now. Is it worth bringing her back to protect her, or do we think we have enough resources just to hold on for dear life?
Well, and here's the other thing, too, is that this gets into those mind games of Barczek knows that Gozyr knows that Barczek knows that you can go back and forth and, like, they know that I'm choosing to leave this at a battlefield.
Yes.
So what am I representing? And then you have to think, what is my opponent representing? How many punch firsts can they have? How many combat tricks can they actually have? They have a discipline that can lead into more cards off the top of their deck. Again, how much am I willing and able to play around? And not only do you have to think about that as the player playing around, you get to think of that as the opponent saying, what am I going to pretend or feign that I have, and how is that going to change my opponent's play? That's why we're looking at this. That's why Barczek is looking at their hand, and they may not.
We're passing it across.
Play, but there's a lot of decisions to be made in that turn.
We've got all of our energy that's currently available, 2 cards in hand, but telling Gozyr that this could be all I need. Was there too much contemplation? Does Gozyr take the note that Barczek might be trying for a bluff here?
Right.
Or maybe Barczek does have exactly what they need. We're going to start with a charm, pushing Irelia back.
All right, so I'm not going to worry about combat. I'm going to say you are not going to be in combat.
I don't really fancy going towards that Irelia. You have left lots of energy in play. I'm not feeling good about that. Irelia, could you just scoot back there a few steps? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a tempo play. We're going to be able to get to 6 nice and easy. We're going to be able to conquer that Targon's Peak as
just
well.
walk on in there.
And, you know, we were talking about playing around things. There are 3 Defiant Dances in hand. You can play around basically everything.
Yes, absolutely. We're in a much stronger position than we were in game 1. And we are on completely opposite sides here. It was in game 1 where Gozyr was reluctantly down to a single or double card hand, and now it's completely flipped. We're playing the on guard, putting us down to a single card, 1 card in hand as Lonely Poro gets a buff, but Defiant Dance comes through, and Vex catastrophically wins that showdown, taking Forge of the Fluffed once again. With just a single Irelia now, can Barczek pull forward? Yeah,
Barczek essentially, you know, saying, hey, I know you probably have a pump spell here. Which one is it? I think they're actually quite happy that it is the Defiant Dance, because, hey, that's a Defiant Dance, one fewer Defiant Dance that they have, and also it's going to cost them a power, which a lot of the other pump spells won't. And they do still get to draw the card from Lonely Poro, but even if that is a favorable exchange here for Barczek, it is still an uphill battle, to say the least, because they're going to need to conquer. They're going to need to stop both of these battlefields, as Gozyr is at 7 here.
Oh, we don't want Gozyr to draw more cards, so we're going into the Vex, but that does make this combat potentially trickier. We're going for the Defiant Dance. Of course, that's going to put Vex up some might and Irelia down, but Defy comes to save the day.
Yep.
That's 1 more Defiant Dance dealt with, but we had that second one in hand. We're going again, and that gives Gozyr the win. We're going to a game 3 here, round 9, Lille.
Yep, game 3 for this, and this was in a really close match, but it was a different match for sure. We saw the units on the side of Irelia actually be there. We saw them being able to take that proactive gameplay, take that Targon Peak early, and be able to play units and defend them as well.
The story so far is whoever draws more cards wins the game.
I never would have guessed it. It is
What?
cards in hand go up, win percentage of game go up. Nice and easy.
Good math, good math.
Yes.
And this is exactly what happened game 1 and 2. Whoever ended up with the much fluffier hand size ended up being able to pull out a win. And again, I liked their denying your opponent of the Lonely Poro trigger near the end there, saying, okay, I'm going to try for this top battlefield, although I know Vex is going to be a more difficult showdown. I don't want you to draw more cards because you already have more than me, and I don't like that.
No, not at all. I mean, Master Yi, in that game especially, has to play a game that is dictated by the tempo of their hand, right? They're behind. They're having to make these potentially suboptimal plays to try to get that little bit ahead and then finish the game from there. And if it doesn't work, you lose. It's not like not doing that play is going to cause you to win. You're actually going for the win there, potentially trying to see what your opponent does. You're also getting information about your opponent as well, how they play, the types of cards that they're holding in, how they're playing when they have these cards. All these little things are what high-level players are looking at, especially as we're going into day number 2.
You mentioned something really interesting there, and that is how your opponent plays. That's one of the things you're learning in a best of 3. You're not just knowing the matchup, you're not just looking at cards, you're learning your opponent's play style and you're adapting as you go into this 3rd game with all of that knowledge. Both of you have won a game aside. You know the potential, you know what they are likely to do, and now it's, can you take advantage of that?
We see game number 3, Grove of the God Willow on the side of Master Yi, Sunken Temple on the side of Irelia. Grove, of course, a battlefield that is rewarding you for holding, which is exactly what Master Yi wants to do. Another great battlefield if you are going first and have a 2-drop to play, which I can see in their hand. That's a Lonely Poro.
It is a Lonely Poro, but we saw them to great effect last game, so let's see if we can do some more. Now, we do have 2 battlefields here that both draw us cards potentially, but it's much easier for Master Yi on that Grove of the God Willow.
Yeah, you're able to set up shop there and start drawing some extra cards. We saw cards in hand go up, win rate go up. It's easy enough to do that, and while there is a 2-drop to theoretically contest on the side of Gozyr, well, when defending, all 2-drops are not made equal when fighting a Master Yi, as that Lonely Poro, for some reason, is going to be 4 might on defense.
Huge Poro, gets a lot fluffier. You can't quite get through it all. And I think forcing your opponent's hand here is also important. You've got to remember, if you allow your opponent to hold that Grove of the God Willow, they're going to draw an extra card at the beginning of their turn.
It looks like
that can get a little bit tricky.
Yep. Not a problem at all. Looks like we've got another judge call, just going to resolve that. But really great start for Master Yi here, being able to set up on that Grove of the God Willow early, because yes, Irelia can at least potentially contest that, but there's 2 energy up on the side of Master Yi, a lot of potential pump spells, and if Irelia is going to contest that, it's going to be costly. And if they lose that early exchange, it could be the whole game. We saw in game number 1 when they lost one of those early battles, lost some of their only units, the House of Cards started to crumble for Irelia, and Master Yi was able to take it over. Exactly
that, and we're trying to use, you know, those units with Death Knell abilities that when they do come out of play, you do draw a card regardless. It's like a rock and a hard place. It's, okay, I let you have the hold point, but then you get to draw an extra card, and I don't like that. But if I do take you out, then you get a card, and I don't like that either. So almost something like a charm feels good here, because you'd be able to push it back rather than allowing the hold point, but also not allowing them to draw a card through defeating the Poro.
Right, yeah, exactly. You're wanting to attack Master Yi by not attacking him, which is kind of the weird Maybe there's something philosophical about that.
Maybe
I don't
there
know.
is. Maybe there is.
I don't know. I just like cards in hand go up, win rate go up, and that's what Grove of the God Willow does for you. That's what Lonely Poro does for you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
So
is,
it was very clear from games 1 and 2 what the win condition was between these two, and so they're both going for it and both making sure that they chose these battlefields last to give themselves that opportunity.
Absolutely, and it looks like we have resolved the judge call here. Not sure what it was, but we are back into the game. We got the Tide Turner. There's a couple pump spells here. I think I saw a Stellicorn Herder as well. And we're just, we're not fighting the Lonely Poro. It is an uphill battle. Even you can see the little hill that Lonely Poro is on. It's an uphill battle to try to fight him when there's a Master Yi backing him up.
It's so snowy. It really is horrible. I don't really fancy climbing it right now. But Stellicorn Herder will be much better at flying overhead. So that goes into base for now. Ready to, once again, draw some more cards. Yep. Lonely Poro readies on Barczek's side. We've got 2 Lonely Poro, and then we get to draw that card for turn.
Yep.
We're going to for that hold point on the Grove God Willow, and then for turn. So we're actually drawing 2 cards right at the beginning here after our effect from there, and we're already that's a strong looking hand.
Yep, absolutely, and we are attacking in to try to trade down or actually win this combat with the Tide Turner, but there's a fight being put back up from the Irelia side.
Here we go, defying the on guard. We're going to say, nope. I know what that does. I play one of those, and I don't like it. So off Tide Turner goes to the trash as the Lonely Poro puts up quite the fight. Quite often, Lonely Poro are left to go to the trash, so you can draw the card. But in this instance, Master Yi doesn't want that. They need to hold this strong position. Only one Stellicorn Herder on the other side. You're thinking, yeah, you can only take one of these, and then I get a whole point, and that takes me to 4.
And you can take one of those, but you, as the Irelia player, are going to have to act first. This is where the hidden power of Master Yi is, because you're attacking into a 2-drop. That's 4 might, so that means you have to act first. You have to play the first pump spell here, and then Master Yi gets to react to that. Generally, being the reactor is better in these scenarios, and we see here it is the Discipline starting off on the Stellicorn Herder.
Putting up a fight.
Thwonk.
Thwonk. Let's see if we're going to defy. Yeah, we're going to defy the Thwonk.
We are.
And we're going to defy the Thwonk.
Yes, I feel like there's some sort of rap to be made out of that.
I was thinking nursery rhyme. It's like the what is it? The cat that had the dog, that had the bunny, and it all goes down.
The head, the Poro, the head.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Ivern? Wait. Maybe? No. That's next set. That's next set. But yes, it's definitely an exchange of resources here, a battle. And unfortunately, it looks like the Stellicorn Herder was thwonked out of the combat there, which means another 2 points for holding another free card from the Grove of the God Willow.
Oh my gosh, and then we get to channel our runes and then draw another card.
Yep.
Barczek with these 2 Lonely Poro looking in a really strong position. Not only have more cards, but we also have more strongholds on those battlefields, not letting go, and that's exactly what Master Yi is trying to achieve.
Absolutely, and we see a card like Defy, very powerful in the right scenario, but even at its best, it is still costing you a card. It's a 1-for-1 when you play it. The thing is that when you're drawing an extra card every turn, you actually want to be making as many 1-for-1 trades as you possibly can. So all of these opportunities for Defy and for Charm are actually very, very good for Barczek.
Forcing the Stellicorn Herder forward, we of course do get the draw. It was a Defy, but unfortunately it's a little too late for Stellicorn Herder.
Yeah. Stellicorn Herder did, like you said, drew an extra card, but you get one now, but then never any more from that Stellicorn Herder, as Akshan, sometimes is good enough with just the stats. And of course, when those stats are bolstered by Master Yi on defense, you'll love to see it.
You do love to see it. Here we go. Irelia joining the fray here as we bring her into base. I don't honestly know if there was a lot of choice there. We need to start rebuilding our stance, and we need to start building these units back up. And with just a Lonely Poro before now, actually not looking so hot. So we needed to bring Irelia in here to start that Protect the Princess mechanic. We're going to use On Guard to trigger. There we go, so that we can trigger the Blade Dancer.
Yep, we're going to play the On Guard. We're going to ready the Irelia now, notably. Actually, yes, Irelia there, going to be ready, going to come in and attack the Akshan.
Irelia says, that was my Stellacorn herder. What do you think you're doing?
How dare you?
Winking at them like that. Oh, I'm coming for you now. So Akshan's in a little bit of trouble here. We've only got one energy standing. We are starting to get a bit low on the cards in hand for Barczek as well. Although we've drawn a lot, we have played a lot. Those combats have been really bouncing back and forth. Although, yes, everything is rather cheap, like our Defies and our Charms. Yeah, okay, they're one cost, but those really do add up when you're thinking about the cards you're left with in hand after all of that.
Right, yeah, Barczek able to make these trades. And there's a punch first. That is a big one. It's going to be tough to overcome that right here. And that is going to be Barczek now at +4. Defiant Dance would do it, but it looks like there may be a Ride the Wind, which could get Irelia out of this mess and at least protect her.
Going for the Discipline instead. We're going to try and outmight this situation.
Okay, looks like we're doing some math here.
It's important. There's a lot of mathematics involved, especially with these two decks against one another, because we are just going back and forth with these spells that put might up and down and all around.
Yep. Looks like we've got 11 to 10. Oh, I just saw the point at the Master Yi. I think they may have forgotten about the Master Yi ability. We've all done it, but not at this stage of the tournament at 8-0. An
Barczek's now got the Guardian Angel going on to hold. Wow, yeah, going on to try and take that hold point for the win. Just making sure the Akshan is going to stick around. And that's the handshake as Barczek takes it into the victory spot of this round 9 here at Lille for our Riftbound regional qualifier.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. These combat-oriented champions doing some of the very same things. In fact, Master Yi looking like an Irelia cosplayer for a lot of that match, but doing them in very, very different ways. Master Yi wanting to set up and get ready, wanting to hold battlefields. Irelia wanting to obviously dance around, and as we saw there, sometimes big numbers are good, and Master Yi just gives you numbers for free.
And that's what it's all about when you're playing Master Yi, remembering that defensive trigger. When you're defending, you get extra might, and actually that is sometimes enough, but you need to be defending alone. And that's why just having both units separated, having the Akshan with the extra gear just to buff him up and also have that protection. Lonely Poro draws me a card, so that might allow me to progress this even more. So actually, that alone, those two units seem maybe not so scary, but actually in the background, they have a lot of power behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. When you can turn a singular Lonely Poro into the same might as a regular Akshan, yeah, that's okay.
That's pretty good.
And yes, the stats alone are great, but just the fact, like we mentioned in the match, that your opponent attacks into it and they have to act first. They're going to have to spend their resources. They're going to have to show their hand a bit first before they do anything, because you just got that free might for defending. That's an advantage, and we saw little advantages here and there end up making a huge difference in that match.
And the mathematics of all the spells that were bouncing around also makes it incredibly difficult for the players. Keeping track of that is incredibly difficult, and also knowing when it's advantageous to play those cards, because you don't want to leave your opponent with too much leeway.
Right. Yeah, it was a lot about timing. You know, we saw Barczek in that last match be able to set up, get that Grove of the Godwill, start drawing cards so that all of these defies and punch first that may be putting you behind on some resources, you're able to keep the cards in your hand because you're drawing an extra card every turn. You're able to take all these 1-for-1 trades, and if I'm drawing an extra card and you're not, all these 1-for-1 trades are going to end up with you with nothing and me with more resources, and that is, at the end of the day, it's a resources game. We saw Master Yi take full advantage of that.
100%, and although in game 2 that faltered a bit as we weren't quite getting those 1-for-1 trades, we weren't getting the, okay, you've destroyed my Poro, I gain a card, oh, it's 1 cost. We weren't seeing that enough to be able to keep up.
Right, and we're now getting into, or already in, the point of the tournament where a lot of these top-level players, if they're taking a look at a prospective metagame going into the biggest RQ ever, you're going to imagine there's going to be a lot of Draven, there's going to be a lot of Irelia, there's going to be a lot of Kai'Sa. Well, there's also going to be a whole list of other things when there's 2,000 people in the event. We have now narrowed that down to just the day 2. So all of the players who tech their deck for Irelia, did put in a lot of matchup experience into Draven, have their deck ready for the Kai'Sa matchup. All of that is now, we're going to see the fruits of those labors. Now,
100%.
You may have done that and then played against Victor and Lux and Rek'Sai all day yesterday, and you're not in day 2. Sorry about it. We've all been there. But in this case, if you put all that prep into the top of the meta, as we saw here, if you want to play Irelia, this is the time for you because that is the most represented deck in this day 2.
In that respect, it can sometimes be more difficult in day 1 for you than it can be in day 2. Because in day 2, you're facing the expected. The unexpected is what day 1 can be made up of. And that's where things can really get a little bit shaky. And we spoke, you know, there was a volley bear here in day 2, among other decks.
Jinxes.
The jinxes. And you think, oh my gosh, they're still here. I'm still unprepared for them. How do I traverse that?
Right. Yeah, you may have put in dozens of hours into Irelia, Draven, Kai'Sa, even Victor. Maybe even if you're looking even further, maybe you got the Rek'Sai matchup down. Maybe you've got the Azir matchup down.
Maybe Azir as well.
Maybe if you listen to me, you've gotten some reps into Lucian. No shot you have a Jinx game plan, because you know what? I have no idea what the Jinx deck looks like right now. So how could you know what you're going to be playing against? I have no idea.
Jinx was like almost cosplaying Draven last time, before we had these bans, and now that we've had the bans, you think, okay, all the things that were allowing Jinx to do that are gone.
Right.
So where does that leave Jinx?
Right. I played against, in day 1 of Bologna, I played against the eventual best of winner of Jinx.
Oh, wow.
I did win, by the way, just saying. As Lucian.
Flex.
Yeah, you know. They didn't ask me on the broadcast for no reason.
Yeah, they had to get you out of the competition.
That's true. They needed to give other players a chance to get the best of Lucian. Is definitely it. But that deck would look completely different. That deck is absolutely illegal, the deck that I played against as the best of Jinx. So, you know, you can build it in a different way, and maybe we'll see later on in the event. But right now, we have got our winner's interview with that Master Yi. Let's throw it on over.
Thank you, Blevins. I'm here on stage with Barczek, who is currently sitting at 9-0 with his Master Yi mid-range build. And first and foremost, congrats on your win. I would like to ask you a question. Why Master Yi? Why mid-range Master Yi?
Yeah, so after the big wave of bans, we got to testing as soon as possible. We tested some decks that used to be pretty bad into some of the banned cards. In particular, Fight or Flight was a big boon against for other decks against Master Yi. And with that gone, we kind of defaulted that should be a good deck. We started testing it. We didn't lose to any matchup, honestly, besides one, and it's firmly in the other category. So we just kept iterating on the deck. We put a lot of hours in. We found a build that we really liked, and we arrived at what I'm playing today, and well, it seems to be working out.
So is your friend also, or like anyone from the test group, also playing it today?
Yes, my friend Pasa is, I believe, now 8-1 on the same list as me.
So 8-1 and 9-0, that's a testament to how the deck performs in testing, right? That's awesome to hear. Now, can you tell me what is the worst matchup for this deck, or do you want not to say?
We have not won a game against Volibear Aurora.
I don't think you should be worried if that's the case, that's the one deck. But it will be so unlucky if you get paired into like one at day one when it's like 2,000 people, right?
I believe starting 9-0 is a pretty decent way to dodge volley with Aurora.
That's a good one. All right, so in game 2, we had this interaction with action and like then changing the control. How worried were you? I know that you lost that particular match game anyway, but how worried were you that your opponent will realize that he can move it with your battlefield still, because he's still the controller though?
Yeah, that is a bit of an awkward dynamic with Irelia, because that's the only matchup I play Vile Mosler on game 1 rather than game 2. But it honestly gives me much bigger advantage than it would give the Irelia player usually. It sometimes happens that will turn off their Irelia Legend from readying their units,
Yep.
so that's a big deal as well. So in that particular turn you're talking about, if they move the boots over to Vex, they cannot ready Vex.
Correct.
So it's also like, it would be pretty bad for me, worse than it's played out, but still quite okay. I will be satisfied with that.
Yeah, okay. So now you're from the Polish community. How do you think the Polish community is sitting when it comes to the other communities? Do you think the Polish community is strong or not so much, or what is your perception over here?
Well, I think thanks to so many stalwarts of the community in Poland, we have a very strong community. I think League of Legends is a very popular game in Poland,
Correct,
and that has
yeah.
brought a ton of different players into the card gaming world. That's a thing I love about Riftbound, because I played all sorts of card games, and none of them can bring the non-card game player to the table. And I think Riftbound does it in such an insane way. To see Warsaw having 80-player Nexus nights, to see Krakow, the city where I'm from,
Yep.
having 40-player Nexus nights, and my local store running 20-player Nexus nights. These are numbers that I have not heard of in any other game, and I think the Polish community is very strong for that. And I'm just so delighted to be able to play in such a large and loving community that keeps together as well.
Yeah, that's exactly the same opinion as I have, and the same numbers I see in my local gaming store. So I feel like it's something that is universal across Poland when it comes to the local gaming stores, which is awesome. Now, in the future, like, are there players that you are looking forward to playing against in this region, or you really don't care who we're playing against?
Well, I'm not looking forward to playing anybody because, well, they are 9-0, so they have to be fantastic players on great decks. But, well, I'm ready for any challenge. I think my deck is very good. Dare I say, the best deck in format?
Oh, you think so? That must be.
I genuinely think so. I think there's a lot of metal card value as well, but I genuinely think that the deck is absolutely great. I like my odds. So whatever comes next, I'll be facing it with a strong mindset.
Okay, so you said that you think Master Yi is the best deck in the format. What do you think about the overall meta game? When you see it, I'm not sure if you've seen the numbers. Like it's 15% Irelia on day 1, 13% Draven, then 11% Kai'Sa, and then it was anything else was between 7 essentially to like 5% from the top decks. How is your overall perception of the meta game?
I think we sort of nailed it in our predictions, but the metagame is so open that you cannot really prepare for a metagame. We believe that Draven and Irelia are strong decks that are going to be at the top tables both in day 1 and day 2. We prepare for those matchups. I think our deck is good against both of those matchups. So no surprises there, and I like my deck against them. They're not easy matches, but they're definitely playable, and with some player skill and a little bit of luck, because that's always what you need in card games, I think I can push through them. Maybe a little bit scared of some of the more rogue decks. I played against an Azir player yesterday, and it was a very difficult match. A well-piloted Azir deck is very strong.
Yeah, we've seen it yesterday on the feature matches. When an Azir player knows what he's doing, the deck is completely different from like a mediocre player who's playing the Azir. But now, one of the last questions I wanted to ask you, is there a card that you're specifically happy that you have in your deck?
Yes, that would be Irelia Fervent. I think that's the biggest game changer we have found.
That's
in
something
testing.
new in this meta game, right? Because Master Yi was typically not playing it. So what is the reasoning here?
So Master Yi is a deck that holds very well, as you may know. It's a deck made for holding, and it does very well when holding. But one thing it's struggled with in the past, and you need to use a lot of resources towards, is retaking battlefields once you do get conquered. And now Irelia gives a breath of fresh air to be able to punch through big boards without using as many cards or without having as perfect of a hand. And I think that is a small upgrade that just puts a lot of pressure towards our opponent. If we open, like for instance, going second with a 2-drop into Irelia, there is very few good plays our opponent can make without losing their entire hand or their entire run base to combat that. And I can still come out on top of that.
It's kind of like a Ruin Runner, but it's cheaper. and it's more proactive, right?
Yes.
And it's super helpful. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Irelia Fervent is probably a great card against Kai'Sa.
Not as good as Ruin Runner, of course.
Yep.
But yes, great against Kai'Sa. It's a pretty difficult threat to deal with. They have to use a lot of runes to beat her, and she's also very difficult to beat in combat, which many people don't realize. Kai'Sa is a unit deck. That's a unit deck
Specifically
in a spell trench coat.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the interview. Congrats on the win. 9-0 is an insane performance so far, and looking forward to your journey in the next stage of the tournament. Any last words from you?
That's it. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Polska górą. Thank you guys, and go back to the casters.